Hello and welcome to the Mind Body Beauty podcast. You're with me, Danielle Clare, a personal trainer and online coach from Liverpool. And here is my long-term client, Alison. I'm sure you all know her. She is back this week. Alison, how are you feeling?
Well, my back's a little bit better. So I've been out for 2 weeks. The first week I was away for the weekend. It was my partner's 50th, so we went away for the weekend. So that was lovely. And then last weekend, we had to go and see a friend who's been through a tough time. So needed 2 weekends away, but it has worn me out completely. So I'm behind in all my work. And then just before we went away, I hurt my back, literally walking across a car park because that's 2021 for me. So I've had 2 weeks out of the gym. And I remember the last podcast that we did, I said, my goal for this year wasn't about losing weight, it was about getting stronger. One step forward, two massive steps back. About 2 weeks out, this week came into the gym, had to do just very, very light stuff on the first session. Slightly more on the second session, but the back started to hurt about 2/3 of the way through. So I feel like I'm, starting from scratch again. It's like the gaps that we had due to COVID, So I feel like I've taken a massive step back. Then I've had this cold that the entire country has because people have stopped sanitising. Sanitise your hands, people. Cannot say that enough. And just everything that could possibly have gone wrong this week has done. Not in a huge way, and I appreciate that this is just a girl whining in the middle of a global pandemic, but it has just been one of those weeks to the point that all I was looking forward to was that this weekend I wouldn't have anything to do. I could have a weekend at home. Because all my friends laugh at me all the time. When they want to make plans, they're like, do you want to check your calendar? And it's like, there's no point. I can never do anything. I know that I'm free. So it was just, I'm going to go home on Friday. I'm going to close the door and just spend the weekend licking my wounds. And then it's Friday afternoon, sat in the car park waiting for you because you got stuck in traffic because there was you got stuck behind a car accident. And it's like, oh my God, now my bad luck is spreading.
Yep.
This morning, locked out of the car park in here, so we decided we'll do an emergency Sunday recording. Couldn't get in the car park. Yeah. It's just been one minor catastrophe after another, but they will start to build up and just,
Gets to it.
I hate life.
Just this week though. But how do you feel being out of routine and now slowly getting back into it? Because I know you're a creature of habit.
I am, yes, and it feels so it felt good to be back this week, but frustrating not to be able to do what I have been able to do, and also just incredibly nervous. The week before I hurt my back, I did a PB on the barbells 55k, which might not sound like a lot to some, but back at our old gym, I was using what was called a hex bar, which is kind of like the dummy bar, the bar for beginners and the bar for people that don't know what they're doing, and that makes it a little bit easier to lift. And so now doing it on just a regular barbell. For some reason, I'm miming holding a barbell right now because I talk with my hands. So I did it. So the weight's gone down slightly, but it was a PB on that kind of barbell, and also on the one where you lie down. I don't know what
bench.
Right, okay. I did a PB on that, and so it's like, yes, come on, we're gonna finish this year strong. And then 2 days later, to recap, walking across a car park, my knees just buckled.
Yeah. And
I spent 4 days barely being able to move, and then a week of waddling like a duck. At best waddling like a duck, at worst looking like somebody that had an accident in their trousers. And so I'm back now, but it just feels like I'm at the bottom of a very large hill again.
I think you will feel better. We've still got 3 months before the end of the year. I know it feels like we've skipped and gone right to December, but we haven't.
I know. Autumn is genuinely my favourite time of year.
It's just gone.
Feels like autumn's gone. We had that lovely little bit of warm September weather, and now it's winter.
Yeah, there's been no autumn. This week has been about a lady on the news, as we all know, due to a man. Alison shouts at me if I swear, so I'm not going to swear. But anyway, he abused his occupation and this poor girl's died. don't want to go too much into that. But then it made me realise how much women have struggled in everyday life. But we actually don't realise it because it is so normal. So when I used to finish work, my mum would be like, right, make sure your keys are in between your hands. If anyone comes near you, always keep your keys. I remember my mum used to manage a pub in Walton, and the policeman said to her, if you'd ever lock one up, make sure you keep your keys in your hand. And I always thought, that's strange, but we just done it. We get used to doing things, but we don't really question why. But why is it that we do it? And obviously it's because women do feel a little bit scared, I suppose, even subconsciously. I do want to share this tip because I've got a client and her dad drilled this into her head. Again, she didn't question him, she just done it. But when she said it, I was like, wow, that is actually a really good idea. She got pulled over by an unmarked police car. She was in her dad's car, but she was insured on it. But her insurance didn't flag up straight away. So he told her, always drive to the nearest petrol station. It's lit up, there's always people there, and it's always cameras. And she knew there was a petrol station around the corner, and she said even if it was 20 miles away, she still wouldn't have stopped until she got to a petrol station. And then they stopped her. They were really nice to her, but still, just to have that safeness anyway, I think that is a really good call to have. But again, we shouldn't have to do it. But I did want to share that little bit of information.
This morning I was watching the Andrew Marr show, and he had Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Manchester, on, and he said that at the moment everybody's saying women need to do this, this and this, and he said the problem starts with men and boys. He said, and that's what needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And which is totally right. It is good to have all of these sort of tips, but we shouldn't need them.
We shouldn't.
And so hopefully what happened to Sarah Everard will open up a wider debate. I know that one thing I'd read was that her ex-boyfriend had said she would never get in the car with a stranger. She would never get in the car with a stranger. And so I think if there's anything good that can come out of this, at least her parents and her loved ones now know she didn't get in the car with a stranger. She got in the car with what she thought was a policeman. She thought she was doing the right thing. She wasn't, she was tricked. She wasn't just behaving dangerously or recklessly. Because again, I'm sure at first there would have been an impulse by a lot of people to think, oh, well, what was she doing getting into a man's car at 10:30 at night? And a lot of judgment, because women are all too easily judged for their actions. So maybe in time this will help them process that to the end she was doing what she thought was the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no excuse for it. But with that being said, again, there is things that we've got to talk about, but it just made me reflect a little bit more. And in everyday life as well, there is things that we just struggle with. And one of the main things is criticism. And I was just saying to Alison, I don't really see this side anymore because I don't surround myself with that. I surround myself with positive people who do not support me. But there is people that go home and they're getting very criticised for doing something that is good for them. So let me touch up on women in the gym. So women are known to be cardio bunnies, stand on the treadmill, don't do anything, just cardio. And then as soon as they begin to lift, there's like a stigma and it's not to do with the men that are in the gym. The men that are in the gym and they see women doing that, they admire it because you've got to have some confidence doing that. But then when you go home to someone who isn't in that environment and you're getting criticised, I think that is quite detrimental. And then it's again on top of another struggle that we deal with. I'm lucky I've got a partner who's also in the fitness industry. He lifts and everything. He understands where I'm coming from with what I want to do, my goals and everything. And we actually met in the gym. But I understand that there is people out there who don't have that. But Alison, you mentioned that when you first went to raise the bar, you didn't question it. You went in, they told you to lift weights and you went and done it.
Yeah, I think, if you're paying someone for their expertise, just let them be the expert. I'll be honest, one of the things that appealed to me about Raise the Bar was walking in and not seeing a single machine. I do like the row machine. I do like that. I think I've often wondered why. Maybe it's because everything's moving, whereas on a treadmill, you don't really feel your arms are moving, but then it doesn't really feel like you're doing anything. And also because I'm such a klutz, even I can't fall over on a rowing machine, whereas I could fall over on a treadmill. So straight away I could see it wasn't that kind of place, and that appealed to me. But they explained that it's about getting stronger and getting fitter and healthier isn't just about fast machines and treadmills and lights and music and stuff. And I think actually thinking about it, when you see on the telly when there's adverts for gyms, and particularly they're always on after Christmas because everyone commits to get fit in January, and they're always on in spring because people want to get ready for their summer holidays. They always show you people on a bike in a spin class or on a treadmill. They never show you people just standing there doing weights. So I think it's kind of like ingrained in us through the images that we see. That this must be the good thing. I went to one spin class and I vowed never ever again. I literally wanted to cry by the end of it. I like to think that I'm quite a resilient person. I think in my job you have to be. But sitting on a bike, being screamed at by someone telling me what a good time I'm having, no thank you. I mean, also I genuinely don't think my jelly is shaped for bike seats. Because I always find sitting on the bike really, really painful. If I go to if I get on a bike at the gym, I go on the one where you sit down, rather than the upright ones. So I don't think I'm shaped for a bike anyway. But just the idea of going and having that pumping, that loud cliche gym music, flashing lights, and somebody literally screaming at you how much fun you're having. So give me a plain dark room with lots of weights and somebody to tell me what to do, and I'm fine. And it's got the results. So I've been going to the gym now about 2.5 years, and even through the 2 lockdowns, was working with you through the WhatsApp. Doing WhatsApp sessions, doing minimal lifting stuff because of the equipment that I had at home. But it's definitely the longest I've ever done something, and I think it's because I enjoy it more, and because it doesn't come with all of the nonsense that a big gym does.
And there's nothing like obviously lifting heavier. We will get back to that, I promise. You will get there. But the benefits of lifting are massive. Obviously, lifting weight, it will take a little bit longer. Cardio will get you sweaty and you'll feel like that's what's best then, just to keep sweating. But when it comes to it, that's the one that's burning more calories is your deadlifts and your bench, your hip thrust, everything. And just lifting weights, building more muscle, feeling stronger, your endurance, absolutely, it just covers everything, support your joints, whereas cardio can be quite impactful. The amount of people that I tell to not run if they don't enjoy it is massive, because they think, oh, I'll just go for a run then. Well, why are you running? Because I should. No, if you don't enjoy it, because the amount of injuries I have seen just off running, it is horrendous, and if you don't enjoy it, just don't do it. But how do you feel now getting back? Do you feel a bit more confident?
Certainly I feel more confident than I would have done. So a year ago, 18 months ago, the start of January 2020, pre-COVID, those simple days, I had an accident actually going out for a run, fell over in the street, hurt my knee, and couldn't do anything in the gym for about a month. The day after it happened, I went into work and I said to my boss, I'm not teaching this afternoon, can I leave early to go to the walk-in, because I fell over yesterday and I've damaged my knee? And she said, Alison, I can see the swelling through your trousers, go now.
Really?
Yeah. And so my knee was really badly swollen for about a month, and so that time going back, although the injury itself was explainable because I fell over, like I said, this time I was just walking across a car park, although the injury itself was explainable, because I still, at that point, I'd been going to the gym for 7 or 8 months. And so it did feel like literally starting from zero again. But again, Brad, the trainer at Raise the Bar, was really good. It was a group class, so the routine would be on the wall and you would follow it through at your own pace. And he just did amendments for me. And he would just go, Alison, this one, no. You know, you're going to do this instead. And Alison, this one, yes, but you're going to do a little bit less weight than everyone else. And again, you know, if you are paying somebody for their expertise, let them lead and just soak up as much as you can from them. And I think it's all very well, you know, it's fine to say, I don't like doing this, or this is hurting, or I'm finding this too difficult. But broadly speaking, you've just got to trust the process.
Yeah.
You know, and so this time, because of all of the progress that I've made, and because I've been doing it for so long now, I do feel more confident. Yes, I know it will come back eventually, the strength and stuff. It's just, I think the thing that makes me nervous now is the fact that it just happened.
Yeah.
You know, and my doctor explained to me, look, so my injury, I should have started with that really, shouldn't I? I've torn a lumbar muscle. And she said, I will have done it at some point earlier in the week, maybe at the gym, maybe carting around, you know, obviously being a teacher, I've you know, a class of 30 books, giving them out, they're quite heavy and stuff. Maybe because I am a clumsy person, I've just tripped and I've almost torn it, but not quite. And then she said, while you were walking across the car park, you'll just have put your foot down with slightly more power, or maybe just slightly overstretched, and that's the final thing that's done it. It's not that you are such a wimp that walking across a car park is too dangerous. So, and I get that, and that all makes absolute sense, but sometimes the logical part just doesn't get through to your brain. So there's a part of me that still thinks like, oh my God, what if it happens again? Because my knees literally just went, and I just, all of a sudden I couldn't stand up straight, and I hobbled back to the car park, got in the car. I had to drive because my partner doesn't drive. He was at one shop, I'd been at another, and managed to get the car home, and then he had to sort of like help lift me out of the car. You know, hey, good job it didn't happen 2.5 years ago, otherwise he'd have had an extra 4 stone to lift, so he should be grateful. But, you know, so I get all of the, you know, you know, it's not that I've suddenly become a weakling. I know that I am fitter and stronger than I have been realistically, probably in 15 to 20 years. I've probably not been this fit for, well, I know I've not been this fit, and I've probably not been this healthy for 20 years. I stopped weighing myself a long time before I went to Raise the Bar. So I don't know when the last time was that I weighed this amount, but it was probably pushing 2 decades. And so, I do know it will always come back, but there's just, you know, everybody has that voice inside their head. But, oh, what if? Yeah. You know, you just got to drown that voice out.
Yes.
Fortunately, the cold is making it so difficult to hear things at the moment.
I'll say it to Alison, we sound like the sick pair because my voice is completely gone. Alison's got a headache and a blocked nose.
We are not exactly the picture of health.
No, we're not. And we're going on about health as well.
Do as we say.
Not as we do.
Not as we sound.
But yeah, it's that time of year as well, and the weather has changed drastically, that everyone's just ends up unwell, which it's bound to happen, isn't it? But just quickly going back, so you said that you've actually never been this healthy. What was the initial thought process before you began? Like, you know, you've got your routine now, haven't you? You go to work, you go to the gym, you go home, you start planning. You've got your little week set. What was it like beforehand, before you started the gym?
Well, I'm still very much a planner and a creature of habit. But yeah, I wasn't doing any physical exercise. I was making sure that I kept my steps up, I suppose. I have an active job, you know, I'm on my feet all day. But I didn't put any thought into my food. I just, you know, when I was doing a supermarket shop, I would just buy food that I liked, or things that were on offer. And far too many takeaways. Tough day, have a takeaway. I love the pizza. I suppose the difference now is, so I've mentioned before, I was probably at Raise the Bar 2 or 3 months before they started talking to me about food. Again, they just wanted me to learn the basics and to learn the, I can't think of the word now, like the form for everything, you know, first. And then they were like, okay, start keeping a food diary. And then, right, you have a look at that food diary and what do you think you need to do?
Yeah.
And you see if you can make a few changes yourself. Okay, now you've done that. Now let's see. We want you to focus on protein. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very gradual, and I think that's a huge mistake that people make, including myself. I've done it in the past. Literally, when they start from zero, wanting to do everything at once.
Yeah, you're setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah. And I used to, so every week, Brad would come over and say, so how's it been going? How's the diet going? And I was like, I've had too many carbs. And he would go, carbs are not bad.
Carbs are life.
He says, it's not about the carbs, it's about the calories.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, before I was there, I was just literally just putting anything in my mouth. I suppose the biggest difference now is when I go shopping. Again, creature of habit, I do eat the same things all the time. I'm not a good cook. I've got no interest in cooking, so it's just stuff that I can heat up. But before I buy, I look at the back and I look at the protein,
mm-hmm.
and is it worth it or not? And if it's not got a decent amount of protein in, it doesn't go in the basket.
Yeah.
And that includes snacks and things as well. I can't remember. There's one like little chocolatey snack that you post quite a lot on Instagram and on Facebook, and I just looked at the pack and it was like 2 grams of protein, and I'm like, no way, I'm not, you know, yeah, it might only be 150 calories, but there's no protein in it. I'm not having it. You know, if I'm gonna have something chocolatey, it's got to be worth it.
Yeah. So the reason why we always say more protein as well, it obviously helps build your muscles, it helps repair them, helps you feel better, protect your immune system, and it also makes you feel fuller. And if your goal is fat loss, then protein is your number one priority. This is why Alison's saying she always looks at the protein content, because that's her main goal. So I do think, obviously we said we'll touch up on food in the next few episodes. I just really wanted to talk about what women want, which is the name of the episode, because that was quite close to my heart and a lot of reflection this week about women. Alison's absolutely smashed it, but she hit the nail on the head then when she said it's a slow process and you've got to do it gradually. I've had girls come to me and I've just done it bit by bit, and when it comes to not seeing results quick enough, they're very quick to go, this isn't working. And it's sort of like, no, it is, but you're not putting in the work. You just do bit by bit. If you put that tiny bit of effort in a day, so even if it's just tracking your normal food that you would normally eat, I think, you know, I get it, tracking is a bit annoying, but it's 3 minutes of your day in total. I'm sure you've got 3 minutes to scroll less on Instagram or Facebook and just track your food. If you want them goals bad enough, you'll be doing it. How did you feel when you started tracking your calories very first time?
I found it really hard at first. I focused on, I use MyFitnessPal, which I think is fantastic. And it tells you how many calories you've used and how many calories you've got left. And I would just focus on that, how many calories I've got left, and I would see it dwindling, and I would get like, it's 2 o'clock and I've only got 500 calories left. You know, I've adapted I've changed my settings, and we'll save that for when we talk about when we do the food episode.
Yeah.
But it does really help me, and I've been using it now. I think I'm on 500 days. Yeah. Odd. As I said, I've had a crazy couple of weeks. I can't say that I've put absolutely everything in. There've been days where I've started it and not finished it off, but it does. It's another form, it's another layer of accountability. And it is so easy to underestimate how many calories you're taking in. And I think that's something, when I first started tracking what I was eating, I would do it at the end of the day. I would write everything down, And then when you suddenly start to see everything, you think like, oh God, I've had a lot today. And then when I started putting the calories in as well, it was like, really, that little whatever is that many calories? Because again, because I'm not a cook, I buy a lot of pre-made stuff, or I did used to buy a lot more pre-made stuff, and I was like, really, that tiny thing is X amount of calories? So I think it's very easy to underestimate.
Yeah.
I know you have a lot of clients who, once they've done it for a while, feel that they can step back because they know how much everything is now. And
that's the goal, though. That is the goal.
And I get that works for most people. For me,
you're a creature of habit.
Yes, it doesn't. I like to have something in front of me to look at, and I do think if I stop doing it as well, I think it would make me more inclined to cheat.
Yeah. So with that being said as well, I always say, track as much as you can. If you've got that life where you do eat the same day in, day out, then you are going to be eating roughly the same amount of calories. So then you can sort of take a little step back. But then if you're not seeing any change, that's when you instantly need to get back on it. It worked and it will still work. But it's just putting that little bit of effort in. As you're sitting here, you know, you're the example of it does work.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap this up a little bit, but I just want to ask you, what is your next goal for October?
Getting my steps back up again, which they are doing. Obviously, while I just got to a 30-day streak of hitting my step count. I remember saying to you a few episodes ago that I got a note on my Fitbit to say, oh, you've hit your step count 3 days in a row, and that made me realise I've got lazy with my steps. You know, it was over the summer holidays and when we had a period of bad weather and stuff, but that had given me sort of the kick up the backside that I needed. And I just got the 30 days in a row badge, and then I hurt my back. So I dropped my step count down to, it was like while I in that first week I was literally doing 3,000 a day. I'm back up to about sort of 7,000 now, so I need to add a little bit more to that, and just getting back into it really. And also I need to do more stretching at home and at the gym. Yeah, and that can only help my back and hopefully prevent future mishaps. But you know,
so that's your goal.
Yeah,
more stretching, more steps.
Yeah,
there you have it. And in a few weeks' time, we'll ask Alison how she got on with that. Don't ask me what my goal is. My goal is just to stay above water for now. So yeah, in the next 2 weeks, I will be launching a 7-day free challenge for all you ladies, no matter what your goal is, whether it's fat loss, strength training, absolutely everything that I offer my clients, I will be giving to you for free for 7 days. And then that's when my monthly membership will kick in, and all for $29.99 a month. So it's definitely there on the table because I can't take on any more clients, which I am quite sad about. This is the reason why I've been working so hard on this as well, to give you as much as I possibly can. So I hope you've enjoyed listening to this podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Please like, save, subscribe and share. Alison, what's our email in case you want to send anything?
It is mindbodybootypod@gmail.com. My phone has also stopped working this week, so you might not get an immediate response, but that's, you know, just one more thing about this week.
That's added to it. But yeah, thank you all very much. Mind, Body, Booty.
Making strong women stronger.